Now, Sord is a Japanese computer manufacturer founded in the 1970s, and we have already covered one of their machines. They built a lot of stuff built on the Z80 near the beginning, and we covered the M5, which is a Z80 based machine. But obviously, for more power in the business world, they eventually started shifting towards the 68000 processor from Motorola. So now we're going to take a look at, and hopefully repair, a machine which straddles both, and it's a really interesting machine. It's also, by the way, Sord is a group of mallards, which is no meaning on this, but I found that out while researching. So hey. Yep, so this is our project machine. It's a Sord M68, and we've done a Sord machine before. We did the M5, which is much more of a personal machine. So Sord also did business machines, and whilst a lot of their stuff was Z80 based, they kind of started moving towards 68000 later on, obviously for more power. And so this is kind of an in-between machine in the sense that it's got a 68K processor, but it's also a Z80 processor in it as well, so it could run some of their other software too. Now, this thing is heavy. I mean, it's big. It's the size of an IBM desktop of the era. And it's literally it's completely metal to the point where it's just pulled my watch strap magnet out. So yeah, it's not lightweight. Oh my word! So there's the back. I can't point out ports. I can't move from this position. So that's. My God, it's so heavy. And this, just to add to the what we're doing here, this is a temporary table. We put a temporary table up when we're doing these kinds of videos to show off stuff. So yeah, this is just a top of a unit balancing on some trestle tables. So this is truly pushing this to the extent. Right, at the front, can we get? There we go. Much better. There we are. So yeah, 2 5/4 floppy disks, and there's the Sord logo of the M68 as well. Oh, it's scratching this thing to pieces. Not that it matters. Now we can see that there's a lot of, once I push it back into place again, there's yeah, this is quite beaten up. But this is nothing compared to the bottom. Oh my God. There we go. That is what we are dealing with. Yes, this has not been stored well. It's going to take quite a lot of cleaning. There was obviously pads, these ones right here, I guess. These ones here on the bottom at some point. They've now gone. Replace those. That's not a problem. But yeah, it's this rust. This rust is not just bad in and of itself, but it's a sign that this has been stored in a damp environment, so we have to sort that out. That's not all though. So this is going to be a difficult one. We don't know what the state of this is. We haven't even tried powering it up for lots of reasons, the rust being one of them. We have to go through all our normal tests, which we will do. We will obviously have to get rid of this rust and clean up whatever the inside of this looks like. Haven't looked yet properly. But also there's lots of other things as well. I'm out of breath just moving this thing around. Right. We don't know how to connect this to any kind of screen. It's got an RGB port, which we're hoping is going to kind of be standard RGB, and we can work out where the signals are coming from. We'll be able to build a SCART cable for that. It's got a black and white port, which might be composite, so we might be able to tap onto that just quickly. But also, we haven't got a keyboard for this, so we don't know how the keyboard works. There's not a huge amount of information online about this machine, so we're going to have to work that out as well, and that's going to be a process of finding out what those signals are, where they're coming from, what ports they're coming from. If we're lucky, it might resemble something else from the same era. We don't know, but we'll find out. Right, let's flip this back over. My God, it's so heavy. I'm kind of hoping once we've got rid of the case, it's going to be significantly lighter. That is my distinct hope. I'm also hoping that once we get in and we see the power supply, then it's going to be like, it has some fairly obvious voltages, in which case we can just run it off of another kind of power adapter, which will be more convenient, and also we've got to run it off the bench supply, so we'll know we're not overloading anything as well. Yeah, this is going to be a project. So this will obviously, as you can probably guess, be multi-part. It's not going to be able to do this in one go. So I guess, yeah, so we'll be cleaning this case up, clean whatever we find inside, hopefully a full motherboard, who knows. Testing the power, running through our normal checklist, so we'll be testing the power supply, testing there's no route to ground from live, checking all of the capacitors and any components that are likely to have gone over age to make sure there's no obvious leakage. To be fair though, if this thing has not been on for a while, there probably won't be any leakage. It will save itself until we actually put power through it. So we'll sort that out when we get to it. And yeah, and then it will be working out how to get a keyboard connected, working out how to get a screen connected, actually work out how to get a screen connected first. We don't need a keyboard just to power it up. And then what's possibly going to be the hardest thing, oh, that's pretty hard, but probably the hardest thing is finding software for this, because we're going to have to be able to boot from something. So that may be the hardest part of this altogether, because yeah, I don't think this has been covered. I don't think there's particularly many disk images out there for it, so that may be a tricky one, but we will absolutely try. So yeah, welcome to the multi-part series of getting the Sord M68 running. Okay, so the first task is to extract everything out of this case. Gotta admit, I've been putting this one off because given how rusty it is on the bottom, I don't know what we're going to see inside this. This could be project over like immediately, but it's fine. I've got tea and chocolate to get me through. So yeah, it looks like there's just 2 screws on the back, and then I guess it just slides forward into my voice recorder right there. So well, let's just do it. Okay, well, first glance doesn't look that bad. Let's see if we can get in there a little bit more. Not too bad, but we haven't seen the bottom yet. Looks like everything is kind of connected like separately, so all of the hard drives and stuff are in there, but they're in these nice long cables like this, which means we can just disconnect it from the board and still just remove the whole thing, which is really good. So let's give that a try. Looks like there are some Molex connectors. Okay, yeah, there's some Molex connectors up here, which they just pull out. Don't know, let's have a look. Looks like they should just pull out. Don't feel a clip. May have to dismantle the power supply, work out how they come out. In fact, it's just this one we have to remove. This one, well, I can see how that one collects. That's just that, so we can do that easy enough. There we go, that's one out. Yeah, so we need to work out how this one comes out. Don't really want to pull by the wire too much, because we don't want to pull wires out, have to remake that. Okay, well in the end it was just easy to remove from the front. It was just 2 Molex and a smaller Molex for the lights panel. So that's disconnected. My god, this is absolutely... Ooh, with the disk drives, that is most of the weight. Right, let's put that over there. Yeah, that is substantially lighter now. Oh, okay, let's get this better position. Right, there, so got a hefty power supply there. So well, that's taking the power to the 5.25" drives. Oh, battery down there, nicely separated from everything else, and doesn't look like it's leaked either, which is good. Some touch of corrosion down there. Let's get a closer look at that. So yes, we'll have to look into what's caused that. But the battery is fairly separate to the rest of everything else, and doesn't appear, I haven't looked properly yet, it doesn't appear to have leaked. Anyway, there's our big old power supply. Now we can kind of guess what some of these are, because this is just a standard floppy drive. Then we know that we've got 5 volts ground and 12 volts on these cables. So that's something we can test, and then the rest of the power comes through and goes to here, which is where we've got the corrosion. So there's corrosion there. We're going to have to check the power supply to make sure that's not where that corrosion has kind of come from. Right, well, let's dismantle it even more. Okay, well, we kind of found the first problem. So it's kind of lucky we didn't just try powering this up. So you can see just down in there, I might be able to use some pliers to help. But just down inside here, come on, out you come. No, can't get it. But anyway, there is the transformer for the electricity. And it should not be floating around like that. So there's lots of plastic bits that have fallen out of various places. Yeah, so if we, there we go. No, where is it? There it is. So lots of plastic bits have just kind of fallen out, and I was wondering what they were, and it turns out they're part of the transformer mount. So that's not good. That's not good at all. I don't know how much more we can take this down, because some of it appears to be capped in. But yeah, so it doesn't particularly matter hugely. We've got 2 wires coming from this, and they both, there we are, they both have the voltage markings on the board. So we can replace this with something else. +5, +12, +5, +12, -12. They're all gettable from other sources, so we can replace this, well, with a normal ATX power supply, to be honest. So that's okay. It looks in fairly, actually it looks in fairly okay shape other than the broken transformer. All the caps look nice and healthy, and yeah, apart from some dust, which is understandable, it is kind of surprisingly looking okay. Yeah, that as it is not going to work, which is fine. Again, normal power supply voltages, so we can get those from an ATX power supply. Where's this? What's this cable? Where's this cable going from? I assume that's 5 volts. It's a light, so I'm guessing that'll just be 5 volts. but that's fine. As we'll just make a rig so that we're giving those. We just have a pin header that these can go into, and it will just connect to an on-way-tix power supply, and will give us the values we require. No problem. Right, we've had some issues getting this down. You may have seen, we'll have sped up the footage of the taking it apart, but you'll have seen that I spent a long time over the power supply. It wasn't because of this problem, I only just found that. It was because there were at least 2 stripped screws. Not stripped by someone else, stripped by me, unfortunately. The reason though being is because they are very, very rusty. And so they just basically become one with the metal. Managed to get them out though with judicious use of force and some wire cutters. Managed to bite into the metal quite well. So yeah, we put some of the screws back in just because they're not going to get in the way of dismantling, and it means we don't have to keep track of them. There's several different types of screw that this thing uses, so this just means we don't have to keep track of everything. I think this bit will come out on its own, which is good. We may have to take these plugs out at the back which hold in the peripheral bays, and then we can get down to the rest of the motherboard. So yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, sorry for the fan noise in the background, but it's got incredibly hot here. Hopefully you can still hear me fine. Right, well, we need to keep breaking it down. Back soon. And that's one of the first processor boards out. Oh, I guess this giant thing down here is a 68K. And interesting, looks like it had a heatsink on at some point, but okay. They're also, you can't quite see them. Oops, that's all the screws gone. There's some indicator lights down here, so that'll be interesting when we're actually trying to get this thing to run. I mean, we don't know what they mean, but hopefully we'll just decipher it. How does this board come out? It looks like it's stuck at the front. Do we have to remove this bottom part? This whole thing is very light now. I don't see any screws on the bottom to remove that, so okay, this might be more interesting than at first we thought. Let's work out how to remove this. Ah, there we go. Excellent, so this just slides out. Very nice. So, it gives us this entire bottom board, which definitely needs the most work. It is completely out now, so we can deal with that. And we have the motherboards, so we can give the motherboards a good clean. They look pretty good though. You know what, this bottom board looks spotless. So, I think we may be lucky here. I mean, there's no guarantee this will work still, but it doesn't look like this has been affected by that corrosion. There are a ton of dip switches here, and I don't know what they are. That could be bad. I can see, oh, there's multiple Z80s, there's not just one Z80, right. So they've got our 68,000, I'll just bring this over here. So we've got our 68,000 here, but there are multiple Z80 processors littered throughout the board. They're also different sizes, which is interesting. I guess there must be, okay, so that's the main Z80 there. That, oh no, it's a DMA, okay, right, okay, there's lots of helper chips for the Z80, excellent. Right, so that's the Z80 there, that's a DMA controller. That's CTC, whatever that is, I don't know, that's another CTC, some kind of peripheral controller possibly. No, that's PTO, so that'll probably be the peripheral controller. Wow, there's loads of them. So yeah, this is a heavily spec'd machine. I am deeply impressed by how complex this is. Right, well I think we are done for this portion, certainly. What we need to do now is we need to start cleaning these boards up, because there is a small amount of corrosion in some of the edge connectors. It doesn't appear to have gone through the board though, although we will have to do a visual inspection to make sure. There's not very many capacitors on this bottom board and they all seem to be okay so far. Again though, they may just be waiting to go if they've been sitting there for a long time. So we need to clean the boards up, we need to sort that rust problem out, which we'll throw a few things at that and see what works. It's not come through, so it may literally just need a wire brush stuck on it, and then that might actually fix it up. And we need to replace the power supply, although we can just grab an ATX power supply and wire that in its place. We'll just have to work out if we get a slimline one, as long as it's got, we need to get one that's got a minus 12 volts line, so some of those like the Honeywell ones and stuff, they don't have minus 12, so that would be more difficult, but we will find what we need, I am sure of that. Right, well that's probably enough for this first part. We've got the machine broken down. That's taken, oh goodness, that's taken over an hour. It won't be an hour video obviously. Yeah, it's a very modular system. Here's the edge connectors for the peripheral bay. They all just kind of come out as one thing. All of the drive bays just slide out once you get rid of the plastic plugs and stuff. In fact, I probably would have been able to take the whole thing out together if I found that screw to begin with, so it would have been even easier. Yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, it's a really nice little system. I really hope we can get this running, I really do. Maybe if we can find the software, we might even be able to stick a Gotek or something in so we can boot stuff up. Otherwise we will have to find a machine that we can write 5 1/4 inch discs in, which is getting harder all the time, but I'm sure someone I know from the retro community will be able to do something for me. Anyway, yes, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit like. If you really like the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video or you have something else to say, then please leave it in the comments below. And if you want to be told about new videos, especially part 2 of this, don't forget to hit the bell icon, which is kind of up there somewhere, and you'll be told when new videos are released. Yeah, please come back and watch the second part, where we will be dealing with the case and cleaning off these motherboards and checking these caps out, just to see if there are any nasty surprises waiting for us. And if we get time, maybe we'll even start investigating this power supply. Right? See you next time.